Most men think the way to save a relationship is to fight harder for it. That instinct will destroy it. Here's what actually happens. She says 4 words, "I need some space," and the mind immediately starts generating catastrophe. Is she losing interest? Is there someone else? Did I do something wrong? Should I text her? Should I call? Should I show up? Should I write the long message that explains everything and fixes it all in one shot? Almost every answer the brain produces in that moment is wrong. Not slightly wrong, catastrophically wrong. The medicine that saves the relationship is the one that feels exactly like giving up. And most men never figure that out because every instinct they have is pulling them in the opposite direction. The fear screams, close the gap. The panic screams, do something. The insecurity screams, prove you care. And so they do. They act and they make it worse. Now, the idea here is not complicated. Attraction does not grow in closeness. It grows in distance. Desire lives in the gap between two people. And when you eliminate the gap entirely, when you are always present, always available, always one text away, always right there, you eliminate the very thing that makes you worth wanting. You do not crave what you already have. You crave what you cannot quite reach. That is not a theory. That is just how human beings work. You could wrap it in evolutionary psychology, you could cite studies, you could build a whole framework around it, or you could just notice that you never really think about the bottle of water sitting on your desk, but you think about water constantly when you are thirsty in a desert. Same principle, different stakes. And the dangerous part is that most men not only fail to understand this, they actively do the opposite when the situation calls for it. She pulls back, he moves forward. She asks for space, he fills it. She goes quiet. He floods her phone. He texts more, calls more, needs more reassurance, pushes for more conversations, creates more opportunities to prove he cares. And every single one of those moves signals the same thing. I do not have enough going on without you. I need you to regulate me. I am not okay right now, and I need you to fix it. That is not attractive. That is exhausting. And here is the brutal part that nobody says out loud. She was not necessarily leaving before all of that. She might have just needed to breathe. She might have needed a Tuesday to herself. She might have needed 3 days where she was not emotionally responsible for another adult human being. But after the flood of texts, after the guilt, after the pressure, after the conversations that start with, "I just want to understand what you need," and end with a 45-minute loop about the relationship, now she is thinking about leaving. He built the exit with his own hands. Look, okay, take Mark and Sophia, 5 years together. Small apartment. They worked from home side by side, shared every meal, spent every evening and every weekend together, never really did anything without the other person present. From the outside, this looks ideal, two people completely in sync, inseparable, deeply connected, the kind of couple that other couples quietly envy. Inside, something was slowly dying. Sophia stopped missing him, not because she stopped caring, but because there was no space in which missing was even possible. He was always right there. She stopped seeing him as a man with his own life, his own momentum, his own direction. He had become furniture, present, reliable, and invisible, and you cannot be attracted to furniture, no matter how comfortable it is. She asked for a break. Mark heard, "She does not love me anymore." And so he pushed harder. He complained. He demanded explanations. He tried to book more time together, more conversations, more reassurance. He did everything he could think of to fix it because that is what you do when something is broken. You work on it, you show up, you put in the effort, except the effort was the problem. Every move he made confirmed exactly what she had started to feel, that he did not have a life outside the relationship, that she was carrying the emotional weight of two people, that staying meant managing a man who could not manage himself. She did not say any of that out loud. She probably could not even fully articulate it, but she felt it. And feelings like that compound, he accelerated the exact outcome he was terrified of. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, so what do you actually do? What is the right move? Because doing nothing also feels wrong. Silence feels like quitting. Stepping back feels like abandonment. And if she is already pulling away, pulling back yourself feels like you are just speeding the whole thing up. Right, that is the fear talking. Here is what you actually do. You agree calmly, without argument, without negotiation, without a single passive-aggressive, sure, take all the time you need, buried under a tone that makes it clear you resent the request. You hear what she says, you acknowledge it, and then you actually give her the space. No daily check-ins dressed up as caring. No just thinking about you messages that are really, please confirm I still exist to you messages. No manufactured reasons to make contact, no appearing at places you know she will be, no asking mutual friends for updates. You go quiet, and you mean it. And then, and this is the part that actually matters, you use the time, you go to the gym, not to look better for her, to feel better because of you. You focus on the work that has been sliding. You call the friends you stopped calling when the relationship became your whole personality. You pick up the hobby you dropped. You read the books you bookmarked and never opened. You build a day that has shape and purpose regardless of whether she is in it. Not because you are playing a game, not because you are running a strategy, but because you actually need this too. And you probably did not even notice how much of yourself you handed over in the process of being a great partner. That is the real cost nobody talks about. Not the tension in the relationship, but how much of your own identity got quietly dissolved in it. Now, here is the paradox, and it is a real one. The less you chase, the more attractive you become, not as a trick, not because absence makes the heart grow fonder in some cute greeting card way, but because a man who has his own life, his own direction, his own things going on, is genuinely more interesting than a man who is waiting by the phone for permission to feel okay. Think about it as a string stretched between two people. When you constantly move toward her, the string goes slack. No tension, no pull, no reason to feel anything in particular. But when you step back, when you give the gap she asked for, the string tightens. That tension is not drama. That tension is interest. That tension is the thing that makes her wonder what you are doing, what you are thinking, whether you actually need her the way she thought you did. And sometimes the answer to that last question is the most attractive thing she has ever found out about you. Now, is this guaranteed? No, nothing is guaranteed. You give the space, you build your life, you become someone with real momentum, and she might still decide the relationship is not what she wants. That happens. And chasing would not have changed it. What chasing would have done is made the ending uglier and taken longer to arrive. But here is what the chasing never does. It never makes her want to stay. In 17 years of watching this pattern play out in real life and in the conversations I have had, I have never once seen a man chase a woman back into genuine attraction. Never. The stories I've seen are the other kind, the ones where he stepped back, got his life together, stopped making her the emotional center of everything, and she came back because something had actually changed. Not because he convinced her, because he showed her. You avoid the hard thing, and you lose her slowly. You do the hard thing, and at least you give yourself a real chance. So let us be clear about what this actually requires, because it sounds simple and it is not. It requires you to sit with the discomfort of not knowing. It requires you to resist the urge to reach out at 11 p.m. when the anxiety peaks. It requires you to go to the gym on a Thursday when all you want to do is scroll her Instagram and read the messages from 6 months ago. It requires you to build something, anything that matters to you independently of whether she ever sees it. That is not passive. That is the hardest active thing you can do in that situation. And the philosophical weight underneath all of this is not really about relationships at all. It is about identity, about whether you are a man who exists fully when you are alone, or a man who only feels real when he is reflected in someone else's attention. Because she can feel the difference. She felt it before you did. Son, that is partly why she asked for space in the first place. The relationship reflects back what you bring to it. Always, not perfectly, not immediately, but eventually. And if what you are bringing is Desperation dressed as devotion. She is going to feel that too. Medicine tastes bad. Staying quiet when you want to call tastes bad. Staying focused when your whole nervous system wants to spiral tastes bad. Giving room when every instinct says close, the distance tastes genuinely terrible. But the fastest way to lose someone is to hold on too tight. And the best shot you have, not a guarantee, but the real best shot, is to let go, actually mean it, and become someone worth coming back to. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do in a relationship is nothing. And sometimes nothing is everything. All right, that is a wrap for today. Comment below.